Welcome to BW Healthcare World. My guest today is Mr. Mayur Abhaya. Mayur is the managing director of a company called Lifestyle. Mayur leads the company's initiatives on new product development, strategic initiatives, and overall corporate development. Let's try and understand from Mayur in terms of how did Lifestyle start, what does it do, and what is new at Lifestyle, and how are they impacting the male fertility testing at home without getting into the taboo and the embarrassment of going to an IVF center. So, welcome Mayur to BW Healthcare World. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. Um, Let me begin with asking you a very basic question. When we speak about fertility issues, we always think that it is something to do with the woman. You know, how has the awareness of male fertility issues coming up today and are being openly discussed? Have things changed in the last few decades in India?
Thank you, Mr. Narula, for having me on the chat today. If the fact is that men contribute to half of the fertility equation today, half of the infertility reason is arising from male infertility. Right? And this is unfortunate that the decline in sperm count is only accelerating. Over the last 50 years, it's been decreasing at a rate of 1% year on year. So there is overall a 50% plus decline in the male sperm count if you look at 50 years back to currently where it is. Right. And what has happened in the last 10 years or so, right, the fertility rate decline has actually increased even further, to about 2% plus year on year. Many reasons, one of course is the pollution that is being there, which is in the environmental toxins, the what we call as forever chemicals, that we consume that not only, of course, affect fertility, but also general health, metabolic disorders like cardiovascular health, diabetes health, and many other reasons, including right in the newborn stage also, which affects the growth and development. So male disorders is a critical thing, from a fertility. There is need to get testing done early ahead in time because with age also there is a decline with fertility compared to an age of 20 to an age of 40. Again, there is a steep decline. So getting tested early enough, helps reduce the anxiety of someone worrying whether they'll be able to have a baby when they need one. And of course, what can be extended is to even preserve the sperms if possible, right, at an early stage.
Right. And Mayur, what are the kind of testing options do we have as on date?
Sure. I mean, today, the only way to get tested is to walk into an IVF clinic, right? Because the sperms, lose their viability within 30 minutes. I mean, in fact, the sperm is the only cell in the human body which can actually stay alive outside the human body. They can swim, they can move around, but even that is short-lived, not more than 30 minutes, right? Which is why, if people have to walk into an IVF clinic because of shame, stigma, inertia, a lot of people don't move into an IVF clinic until it's too late. What is now possible, is that, with a special designed kit, the sperms can actually be made to remain viable for 48 hours. And what that means is this can now be done in the convenience of home, privacy of home. So that really, we believe will be a significant inflection point for people to get tested early on. There is a lot of stress that happens between the couple. Is it a male side issue, female side issue? And I mean, why go through that stress? You can solve for that, with the convenience and privacy of your own home.
I kind of agree with you on that, Mayur. But tell me one thing that, male fertility issues, in fact, not just male, but all fertility issues have been hushed and been under the carpet for many, many years for obvious reasons. I mean, the social conditions that we have in our country. But things are changing. Um, But still, I mean, like you said, that people go in for testing, but by the time they go in, it may be already too late. Now, what kind of challenges do we see in mental health of people because of these issues? This is not something that people discuss too openly.
Right. I mean, in fact, stress by itself is one of the reasons for also causing infertility, and other sexual disorders also. Could be erectile dysfunction, could be premature ejaculation, could be any of that. Right. And once you're diagnosed with infertility, low sperm count, or improper shape or smoke of the shape or mobility, as we call it, of the sperm, right? That further accelerates the stress even further, right? So what is really important is people have a good diet, and good lifestyle conditions also to help manage that. Because luckily, most of these are also reversible. And from a context, this is not just limited to the big cities, metro cities. It is a phenomenon that is affecting all of us. Luckily, fertility clinics are increasing access, right? They're going beyond the tier 1 cities. You see a lot of the tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities also seeing a lot more fertility centers providing good quality options also becoming available.
Right. But Mayur, when we look at fertility issues, uh, is usually to do with the age as well.
That's right.
And we've seen that the average marriage age, both among men and women, is
Correct.
turning out to be very late.
Correct.
And uh, I'm just thinking aloud that what about preservation? I've seen that, people, women preserve their eggs. Is there a way to preserve sperms?
Absolutely, it is possible. I mean, in fact, men have it easier here than the women.
Yeah.
For women to preserve their eggs, they have to walk into an IVF clinic, get these scans done, take hormonal medications for about 15 days, go through an anesthesia procedure to have the eggs picked up and, of course, then frozen down. Men can now actually have their sperms frozen down with the convenience of their home. The kit box can be mailed out to them. They collect the sample, they send it back. Within 48 hours, if the sperms are frozen down, and they can be remaining viable for a lifetime, minimum of 10 years plus that the government that requires here to be done. So yes, I mean, for those who are concerned about future fertility, this is a way to reduce the anxiety. Right. So when you're healthy, ideally someone who is 30 plus, not yet ready to start a family, should seriously consider sperm preservation, just like the women do.
So what does this sperm testing kit do? The at-home sperm testing kit.
Right. So it is a very simple kit. It has a few components, which is the collection container itself, in which about 5 ml of the sperm is collected. And then you have a transport media that is given along with the kit, so that is added to the sperms after the collection is done, so that the sperms remain viable during the period of transport. You place this sperm collection container into a transport box that we give. It's a steel box, vacuum insulated, with a pre-formed gel, which ensures that the temperatures remain in that 2 to 8 degrees centigrade for about 48 hours until it reaches our lab. So then not only can we give a medical grade report that you would expect from an IVF clinic, we'll also be able to do the preservation also.
So the preservation is done where? I'm sorry, I did not get it.
At our lab, at our
At your lab.
cryopreservation facility. So it can be a central facility out of India. It doesn't need to be in a local city. Right, 48 hours allows us to do air logistics to move it to our central processing facility at Chennai.
Right. And Mayur, what are the legal challenges around this? Are there any?
Oh, there are, of course. We are governed now by the Assisted Reproduction Technologies Act 2021, which further got the ART rules, as they call it, Assisted Reproduction Technologies Act 2022, which give the rules how to enact them. And few issues, right? I mean, what are the minimum qualifications of the lab that needs to be, right from there to about, issues that, how long can you store the sperm? In India, there is a rule that you cannot store beyond 10 years, because probably they don't want people to have a child at an advanced age, right? Then there is also the issue about who can have ownership, after the sperm donor, is no longer alive, right? Can you posthumously use the sperms? And that's also a question. So that's also addressed. It transfers to a sexually intimate partner who has the rights if already nominated, by the donor. There are issues also related to sexually transmittable diseases. That also something, the sperms have to be checked for, so that, provides the assurance to the partner that there is, no risk to that also. Like that, a few more issues, which are to be dealt with.
And Mayur, how big is this market that you're addressing? How big is the male fertility issue in our country? You mentioned that 50% of the fertility issues are with men, but how many in numbers?
Given that about 7% of the male, we, have this issue of infertility. In our view, at least 1 million plus Indian men in that age group of 25 to 35, will have that issue of infertility to deal with.
So your addressable market is 1 million people in India. And what is the cost of this kit that you have developed? And I believe this is the first time that it has come up in India, is it?
This is the first kit in India where one can do this at the convenience of one's own home. And this is priced at 4,000 rupees for a one-time collection. Those who seek to not just have the sperms tested, but also frozen down, we provide multiple kits, so that you can have not just one chance, but even multiple chances of having a baby, right? So we provide even 2 kits, which is about 6,000 rupees. And then we have a storage option where they can continue maintaining these cells for an annual basis, which is about 6,000 rupees per year. And this, gives them multiple options, whether they could choose to do a regular transfer into an IUI, intrauterine transfer, or they could go for a, depending on the sperm quality and count, even do advanced fertility procedures such as the IVF or ICSI also, where the sperms are directly injected into the egg in the lab setting. And it also includes the cost of transportation to any fertility center in India under cryogenic conditions at minus 200 degrees centigrade. These sperms will be frozen down and provided to where the recipient wants the transfer to be done.
So Mayur, I have a question that you've been into stem cells earlier, and you work very closely with gynecologists, you work very closely with IVF specialists, and what is the acceptance level of this home testing kit by the IVF centers? Are you taking away some part of their business?
Right. So this is a concern that could be there, but in fact, it's the other way around. What we are helping is ensuring that more people get diagnosed at an early stage, so that they could actually start treatments if required, right, at the right time to help solve for it. So in a way, if we are diagnosing more of the male infertility, we would then provide a consult to the patient, and give them options, which are the fertility centers that they could choose in their neighborhood to go get further assistance from.
Awesome. And how are you creating awareness about this?
Right,
it's a very tough kind of marketing to openly talk about these kind of things, because one is, how do people buy it? I mean, do they typically go to a pharmacy to pick this up? Do they reach out to you directly? Or if they were to receive it at home, what are the challenges that you expect to face?
Right. Thanks for asking. I mean, so the primary approach at this time is this would be something that would be directly available through an online channel, right? Where and it's also available with third-party e-commerce platforms also, like Tata One MG, Farmeasy, and many other platforms. And what we do very importantly is to have discrete packaging, for the stem cell kit, just like how one would receive innerwear at home. Right? It is something that wouldn't necessarily have disclosure, so one is comfortable with that also. And this is something very personal, to one. So definitely there is in that 25 to 35 age group, people do research online, right? Especially if they are having either primary infertility where for a few years they've been trying but not been able to make a child, or they have lifestyle conditions, a lot of alcohol, tobacco use, they're concerned, I'm going to get married soon, I hope things are okay, can I get checked now? Right? So I think in that age group, mobility is a primary option of discovery, and we think we will be able to solve just from that. Of course, India is large. We will need offline presence. We will use the leverage offline network. We are in 100 plus cities. We will use that network, but build the right channel, starting with the online first.
And how are you educating the market? I mean, one is creating awareness in terms of trying to market the product, but in terms of creating awareness that people start considering and thinking about getting a test done in the first place. Is there something that you're initiating or you're looking to initiate?
Right. So one more thing that we are doing is with the corporate network also. And a lot of corporates are now, especially the top 500 MNCs in India, including the ones who have international presence in Fortune 500 MNCs who also have presence in India. Today, they even sponsor employee programs to have fertility testing and fertility preservation and fertility treatments also, right? Which is not covered under the general employee health insurance, right? But they are even providing for these add-ons, including, some even provide $15,000, $20,000, or in India provide at least 3-4 lakhs of rupees, to provide. So corporate itself, account for at least about in India about 15% of the workforce. Right, so that's where we are starting out from, having a significant corporate outreach program, who are already willing to pay for the employees, wanting for an employee retention perspective. So people who are working hard, right, to ensure that they don't struggle in life later on, right, to have these at the right time fertility testing and preservation done.
And the acceptance has been there at the corporate levels?
They are already sponsoring, as I told you. They already understand the importance of it, right? I mean, just like how they're sponsoring for pregnancy related things, they want to ensure that people even before that don't struggle for it. I mean, the last thing that you want is an employee, saying, I've given my whole life, and I didn't think about my children, and here I am struggling. And that's not something you want. And let me tell you another way, it also increases the cost for the corporate also. Because if they go through a fertility program, the corporate does cover that. It increases the cost for the whole medical expense. So it's better that they proactively plan for it. Reduces the employee stress, reduces the employee medical expenses also.
Right. And, like you said, this is a very heavily regulated area now because of the ART Act, the new ART Act. What are the government policies and, that you expect, which can help you grow your business and help you build the advocacy of this to the market and to the target segment? How can the government help you?
Right. So the government has allowed for the sperm banks also to be set up. Right. They've given the rules, they've given the forms. So I think that the ART Act by itself was a very significant move. Right. If this can be covered under the general health insurance, that would be the biggest benefit that for the growth spurt that we could see. Right. I mean, some do it proactively, but outside the general health insurance, if this can be covered, if the government recognizes fertility is a significant issue for the country.
So, Mayur, let me come to the organization itself, LifeCell. When was LifeCell born, and how did you even think about it?
LifeCell is about 18 years plus. We started in 2004, towards the end of 2004. This was also because of a personal, when I had a baby that I was expecting, and someone told us, why don't you get this done? And being in the field of biotechnology myself, right, and having a connection in the US with the world's first partner bank in the US, we decided why just have it frozen there? Why not get it licensed? It's in less than 6 months from licensing to setting up the lab to getting the regulatory approvals in India, being the first bank in India to do that. We were able to do that in a very short period of time, just in time before my child died.
Lovely, lovely. And Mayur, if we talk about the tissue banking segment, what have been the developments in this segment and the challenges that are faced by the industry? What are the current trends that we observe in this particular segment?
Right. Tissue banking is something, has been one of the sectors that has been most, I would say, under accessible in the country, right? I mean, organs and tissues. I mean, when we deal with tissues, could be bone, could be skin. A lot of you have to source it from a cadaver. That itself is is a big challenge in India. Regulatory, right, of quality. There is no bank that is accredited in India. Which is like for us, Lifestyle is the first bank outside the US to have the American Association of Tissue Bank accreditation. Right, so we solved for the quality issue. We also using widely available tissue in the country, which is the placental tissue. India is the world's largest producer of babies, and therefore the world's largest producer of placental tissue. And today it is considered as a significant healing solution for wounds, right? Wounds which don't heal within 1 or 2 weeks. So this is considered as an advanced product because of all the growth factors and proteins that reside in it. And we believe Lifestyle can become the largest provider of these tissues globally. Today, at least 1 million plus tissues from the placenta are used every year for wounds. And we've started out in India. We're the only DCGI licensed bank in the country to provide these tissues. And now we also have registered ourselves as sperm banking and even egg banking also.
Right. And Mayur, like typical every niche segment, there is a cost, which is a challenge. How can this, because I understand that this is a niche and this is an expensive process and this is over a long period of time, so the cost is higher. How can we make this affordable so that this can become accessible to a larger part of our population?
Right. I mean, so this is like, on 2 things, we offer the storage of stem cells for the newborn, right? And that is something we have recently also offered, for very low pricing, as low as 6,000 rupees a year, so it becomes extremely affordable, right? I mean, people don't have to choose between, the essential, which they anyway have to incur, at the time of birth, right? Many other things. So this is something that can be easily decided. It doesn't even cost, more than a couple of percentage of the total family income, even for a middle level income family. And then they don't have, unlike people only offer this as a prepaid program, like a single insurance premium, right, where you pay everything prepaid for 20 years or 75 years, one can pay as you go. And that's exactly what we've done for sperm banking also. While you have a 10-year prepaid option, and you can still pay as you go, which is again 6,000 rupees a year. And so it is extremely affordable, especially, as we see in India, people spend a lot of money on weddings, big fat Indian weddings. I think this is a very small cost for a very significant milestone which they want to achieve in their life, which is to have a baby.
You also mentioned about genomics. Our conversation before we began this interview. What are you doing in this space?
Right. So Lifestyle is focused around providing services around cells, genes, and tissues. Right. So we preserve cells right at the birth. From the umbilical cord, we preserve the blood. From the placenta, we preserve the tissues for future use. We also provide testing services. So we do cell and gene testing. To provide health answers, which people struggle with. Could be scanning the whole genome. 20,000 plus genes that we scan for. Right, or could be including simple hormonal testing, or the sperm testing that we offer. We offer this at the convenience of one's own home. We also provide treatments, using cells and genes. So we use tissues, for wound healing. We provide stem cell based products which are in clinical trials today. for including COVID-19 and many other indications, including cardiovascular, osteoarthritis, and all of that. Plus, we are also in the mix of launching very soon, a skin care product range, which is validated using human skin cells, right? So with animal testing being banned, with limitations of what you can do on a human skin, right? We in the lab we can create assays which replicate the environment in the human skin, right? So deep cellular activity can be mimicked and checked for. So you want confidence with your products which are claimed as anti-aging, anti-hair fall, hair growth, moisturization, hydration. All of these claims can actually be validated now in the lab and provided. A skincare line that is giving you the confidence. When you pay the money, not just by fancy packaging.
And how big is LifeCell today?
Right. So Lifestyle is the largest provider in the country. Number one for corporate banking, the first provider for sperm banking at home. We have a presence in 200 plus cities. Today we're about 180 crore in revenue, profitable, and with the new growth divisions that we have, with the new launches we have, we expect to grow to 500 crore in the next 3 to 4 years.
Awesome. And what is it that we can expect from LifeCell in the next 1 year? Is there something new that you're going to be doing? Any raising of capital? Any M&A activity that you're looking at doing?
Right. So the Lifestyle did raise capital very recently. We raised about 225 crores of equity investment from OrbiMed Healthcare Ventures. And we think we have enough runway for the next 2 years, to launch all the products that we're doing. About 30 plus products that we're launching for at-home services, for cosmetics that we're launching, and for the new products that we take through from clinical trial all the way to launch. We will be having the ability to also bolt on a few more assets, which could help increase our presence quickly.
So, Mayur, it has been lovely speaking to you and knowing about LifeCell. I mean, this is a great work that you guys are doing, and I've seen LifeCell in the last few years, where people used to question the gynecologists that why are they pushing us to do this test? Is there because they're getting some commission? To today, when parents, the young mothers ask for this during the birth. So, it is a commendable journey that you guys have had. And I wish you all the best for the new testing kit that you're launching and the skin brands that you're bringing to the market. Wish you all the best for your coming times.
Pleasure. Lovely talking to Mr. Thank you.